But let's move on. It is time to talk about Aston Villa in the Premier League this weekend. Back-to-back massive games at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And we're going to go through our predicted lineup up first. And there is some injury news to talk about that Andrew's been speaking about in the press conference today, and not such great news.
Mixed news, I think it's fair to say. I think the first one, Van de Ven, I think it's probably positive news because we're all fearing the worst. He is injured, obviously. He did tweak his hamstring, but he said it's not so serious, and he's looking to get Van de Ven back for after international break. So looks like he definitely will be missing on Sunday. And against Galatasaray and against Ipswich, but hopefully back for the City game after international break. If not, maybe the one after that, but thankfully it's not too serious. Jed Spence, he didn't really say anything about Spence, so he said beginning of the week he was back in training, but it wasn't in the squad in midweek, so we have to wait to see about Spence. On Odebear, he said, in terms of timelines for Wilson Odebear, he said that it's going to be a similar timeline to his first injury, which was about just over a month, so don't expect to see Odebear until maybe the December period, the Christmas period. And then on Romero and Timo Werner, he said they were feeling some tiredness and a bit sore after the game on Wednesday, but they're going to have some checks before being available on the weekend. So he's not ruling them out for the weekend. He said they still got a chance to play, but they were feeling a bit sore from midweek. But in very positive news, Heung-min Son trained today and is available for the weekend. So that's very, very positive.
Yeah, he did actually say that he's trained today, and if he gets through tomorrow's training session, then he'll be available for the weekend.
Well, if he
so
trained
there's
today,
still a slight doubt there.
Well, if anyone pulls up tomorrow, then they're going to be out. So hopefully you train today. As of today, he's going to be available.
Yeah, as of today. But let's just hope he can get through the training session tomorrow, because we need Sonny massively on the weekend. But anyway, let's get into our predicted lineup. We're going 4-3-3 as per usual. In goal will be our number one, Vicario.
Yeah. Who else? I mean, it could be our player of the month, Forster, but it's not. It's going to be Big Vic. We know how good Villa are from set pieces, so especially when they got some big threats, Onana and people like that. So we got to be wary. They always come up with very creative set piece routines as well. So definitely something for Big Vic to be wary of. But of course, he's going to be in goal.
Particularly after that clanger on the weekend.
Yeah, less said about that, the better. Yeah, it wasn't great.
Right back, Pedro Porro was well rested in midweek, so hopefully he comes into this with a bit of extra oomph in his performance, because as you saw by the previous player performance, it's not the greatest month for Pedro.
Yeah, hopefully the rest will have done him good. What's interesting is they usually play, from what I've seen over the last few weeks, they've been playing Jacob Ramsey on that side, and he's not really your typical winger, Jacob Ramsey. He's very much like a centre mid playing out wide. So I don't expect much threat from him when it comes to him taking on Pedro Porro and exploiting the space. But with Pedro Porro being inverted, in certain occasions, I actually think that could help us here, because I think Jacob Ramsey is going to be tucked inside a lot, and I think Porro is going to be his job to make sure that he's not getting too much space when he's in the central areas. So I think it's going to be an interesting tactical battle there.
Yeah. Next up, right centre-back, we are going to side with Radu Dragusin. I thought he looked very uncomfortable hand side against City. When he moved back to the right, I thought he looked very comfortable and put in a really good display. Got his big chance in the Premier League last year against Aston Villa as well, and came through with flying colours, so hopefully more of the same this weekend.
Well, he's going to have Ollie Watkins to contend with, and we know how good he's been for Aston Villa over the past couple of seasons. And he's the thing with Watkins, he's such a physical threat, but he's also a threat in behind as well with his pace. So he's such a handful. In a weird way, I think Dragusin is probably more suited to dealing with his aerial threat than maybe Van de Ven is. But obviously Van de Ven is he makes sure that Watkins doesn't get in behind, and he does that so often, Ollie Watkins. So it's a big day for Dragusin. Obviously he's going to get a run in the team now. It's going to be interesting how he copes, because his agent's been talking about wanting more game time, all that stuff. A lot of people have been asking for him, obviously mainly in place of Romero, but a lot of people saying he should get and run the team, and now he's getting it. So interesting to see how he gets on. Yeah,
and alongside him will be Kuti Romero at left centre back, and I think Kuti, for when he was on the pitch against against Man City, I thought he was brilliant. I think it was one of his best displays, if not his best display of the season. I thought he was coming for everything, putting in strong challenges, good ball playing ability as well. And it'll be an interesting dynamic having Romero on the left and Dragoshin on the right.
Yeah, on midweek, he kept Romero on the right and played Dragoshin on the left. But when Dragoshin, his last start in the Premier League, which was against Newcastle in the season, he played Dragoshin on the right and Romero on the left. So, I also guess depends if Romero makes it or not, because he is a bit of a doubt, and if not, it will be Ben Davies. But I think this is how I would want to do it, because I think you can still get Romero's passing ability on that side, and I think it just helps Dragoshin be a bit more comfortable on the right-hand side. Albeit, when Romero did play on the left, he did get caught out by Newcastle playing on that side, so something to watch out for. But look, I thought he played really well against City. Hopefully, he comes through the next couple of days unscathed and he can make it for Sunday, because he's going to be very, very important for us.
And then to make up that back four at left back will be Destiny Udogie. The matches keep coming for him. There's been no mention of Spence in the press conference from Ange Postecoglou, which was surprising, because he's one that could obviously come in with Destiny just literally being overplayed at the moment.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a weird one with Udogie, because he's playing so much. As you said, he pretty much played a big part in every game last month, from the start or coming on in like the early stage of the game. So there is a bit of a worry about burnout and overplaying him. Obviously, we have Davis available. Maybe Spencer's going to be on the bench. I've got a feeling maybe he plays Udogie 45, and if Spencer's on the bench, he brings him on. I've got a feeling maybe he'll do that. But Udogie is very important, and also they're probably one of their biggest threats on the wing, Leon Bailey, potentially playing on that side. So you're going to want to make sure he's nullified by Udogie. That's going to be very important. So I think Udogie needs to start. Hopefully, the fact that we played on Wednesday and not on Thursday, that extra day rest can help him recover, but it's going to be difficult for him.
So that's the back four: Porro, Dragoshin, Romero, and Udogie. In the number 6, I mean, after that display by Bentancur, I wouldn't be completely surprised if he kept his spot. And you cast your mind back to Villa at home last year. Bentancur made his return from injury and then obviously got taken out by Matty Cash in the early stages when we were absolutely battering them. But it looks as though what Ange is doing at the moment is rotating the 6 each game from midweek to the weekend. So we think Bissouma's going to play.
Yeah, and I thought he had a pretty good... Well, against Palace, he wasn't terrible. I don't think he was one of our weaker players. Obviously, against West Ham, fantastic. Came on against City and put in a really good shift as well. So I think he's just going to side with Bissouma, considering Bentancur started on the weekend. But, it could be either, to be fair. I think maybe Bentancur's discipline could be helped here. But Bissouma is still playing quite well at the moment, so I think he's just going to keep the shirt for now.
Yeah, moving into the attacking players in midfield, we're going to go for Dejan Kulusevski, who's obviously been brilliant, and another brilliant performance against Manchester City. So more of the same, please.
Yeah, and he's just a tireless runner. He just never stops. I guess one concern is, again, he played 90 minutes, didn't he, on midweek, and he's just playing so much, and he puts in so much effort. But he's so valuable, and I think just his physical profile feels like he can run all day and all night. So I've got no worries about him coming in here. So we're going to go with Decky.
Yeah, he did play 90 minutes, but his previous 90 minutes to that was West Ham. So he only played 18 minutes against Alkmaar and then only the hour against Crystal Palace as well. So and alongside him, it's a very interesting call, very difficult call between Pape Matar and James Maddison, but we are just about siding with James Maddison. I thought that dual threat of 2 attacking players in the last home game against Aston Villa really worked a treat in that opening half an hour, and we should have got a lot more goals than we did. However, in my opinion, I think Sarr deserves to start. And I think Maddison deserves to start. I think they're both playing really well at the moment. It just depends what dynamic you want to go for.
Yeah, it's a really, really tough call. I think in a perfect world, if he can manage to get away with it, I think Ange will want the 2 attacking mids, because I think it just gives him that little bit extra in the final third. Now, the problems is when the dynamic's a bit wrong, maybe our pressing's a bit off and physically we're not there, all of a sudden we get dominated and we start to suffer in the midfield and we get caught. And that's what's happened a few times the last couple of games. But hopefully Maddison, well rested, didn't play at all in midweek. Maybe that was a view of just keeping him fresh so that he can really go 100 miles an hour on Sunday. And then him and Decky can really take the game to Aston Villa in the centre. Now, Aston Villa do have a really strong midfield three, probably going to play Onana, Tielemans and Rodgers. So especially Rodgers, he's one where you've just got to be very, very wary of him. He's got such great ball carrying ability. He's so good at the ball at his feet, but his final ball at the moment still not quite there, albeit he's such a great dribbler. Tielemans, very good passer, but he's someone who you can get in his face a bit if you press him. And then they've got, a great season, he's having a brilliant season. He's such a great passer of the ball, but you need to close him down. He's still not the quickest. Onana, obviously, absolute monster of a defensive midfielder, so he's very, very strong. So I feel like, in a weird way, we're going to need Maddison and Decky to deal with Onana offensively. I feel like without both of them, we might not have enough to get past him, if you know what I mean. Because if we just play one of them and Onana sticks to him, it's going to be very difficult for us to get any joy centrally. Having said that, will we get overrun in the centre if we don't have another person with legs there? That's risk versus reward, and I'm just siding with risking it here.
All right, Bissouma, Kulusevski and Maddison in the middle three. On the right-hand side of the attack, pretty much the only option as of now is Brennan Johnson. Yeah,
did play, 70 minutes on the weekend? On the midweek, sorry. So, obviously he has to play. Going to probably be up against Luca Dean. I think he had, if I remember rightly, against Villa last two times. Actually, played on the right at the game of the lane and was brilliant. I don't know if it was Dean who played left back, but he took their left back to the cleaners. He really took him to the cleaners, and should have had a lot more goal contributions. And then at Villa Park, you remember, played on the left and was brilliant. Got a goal and an assist and ran them ragged on the left. One of his better performances on that side. So hopefully Brennan can be up to the task here.
Yeah. Number 9, big Dom Solanke. Like I keep mentioning, I want to see him getting in those goal-scoring positions, but having said that, I'm loving his performances at the moment. I think that he brings so much extra to that team. He's such a good presser, such a physical beast, and he does not stop running for the whole game. So big Dom Solanke in the 9.
Definitely. The only bit of worry I have is he was absolutely on his feet at the end of that game against City. He collapsed pretty much at the end of the game to the floor because he just put so much effort in, and he put in a brilliant performance. It was another brilliant display of hold-up play and just being a nuisance, and we're going to need that against this Villa side. So I think he needs to start, but there is a bit of a concern. There's a bit of me thinking, is he going to be 100% at his best physically, given how much effort he put in on Wednesday and didn't get taken off, played 90 minutes, put in so much effort. If you remember against Villa first of all at Villa Park and at the Tottenham Stadium, Son played up front in both games, and he gave them so much trouble because they play a bit of a high line, Villa, and he was just getting in every time. And I remember the game at Spurs, he had a hat-trick of goals ruled out for offside. The game at Villa, I think he got 2 goals and or 1 goal and 2 assists. So is there a case to have Son up front, but then who do you play on the left, I guess? So I think we're just going to side with Solanke here.
Yeah, I think what you're saying about Solanke, about him being out on his feet, I think that's happened quite a few times this season. He does seem to recover quite well and be bang at it the next game. But you also got Richarlison there as well, who came on and had a good cameo against Manchester City. So there are options there.
Yeah, I think Son's a viable option. I think Richarlison's a viable option. Solanke has, that does happen a lot of games. But I don't remember too many midweek games he's played 90 minutes and then played on the weekend. Carabao got taken off. Ferencváros he didn't play.
No, you're right.
So even Coventry he got taken off quite early. So it's the first time he's played 90 minutes in midweek. So we'll have to see how he copes with it.
Yeah. And last but not least, on the left-hand side is the captain returning to action, Son Heung-min. And like my brother said, usually does have a good performance against Villa. 2 good performances last year against Aston Villa in the number 9, and we're going to need him back to those West Ham levels.
Bit of a concern for me, not for Son, but it is for
Villa.
No, but for Villa. But there's a bit of a concern if Matty Cash starts at right back. Not because I think Son might roast him, but I think it's because Son will roast him. Is that I'm worried for him, because we know how Matty Cash likes to put in a good 2-footer, doesn't he? He's injured Matt Doherty in the past. He's injured Bentancur in the past with bad injuries. They were ruled out for months after they faced him. So if he does start, I'm a bit worried about that. But as well, they could start Konsa at right back, and they start him. There's a different kind of concern because he's just a very physical right back, a very physical player with good pace, and he's strong. And in one-on-one situations, it's going to be very difficult for Son to get the better of him. So it's kind of pick your poison. Do you want him to play back against Matt Cash, who I think he can get the better of, or Konsa, or who is going to be more difficult, but maybe less likely to get injured?
Matty Cash has started 3 out of their last 3 Premier League games. And played 90 minutes.
But I was looking at their lineup against Bayern, and Konsa started there, so it's going to be interesting to see what he goes with.
It looks like at the moment he's preferred Konsa to Europe, and he's preferred Matty Cash to the Premier League.
But will he treat this like a Europe game? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I don't know. But let's go through that lineup with you guys one more time. Vicario in goal, Porro right back, Udogie left back, Dragoshin and Romero in the centre-back positions, Bissouma, Kulusevski, Maddison in the middle 3, with Brennan Johnson and Son Heung-min supporting big Dom Solanke. So that is our predicted lineup. Let us know your predictions in the comment section below. And would you like to see, there's a few question marks. Would you like to see Son moved over to the 9? Would you like to see Sarr or Maddison come in for this game? But that is our predicted lineup.